All right, so I'm going to talk about Craigslist in this one. If you're here for some bigger stuff, don't worry, that is coming along. I got a few videos I want to put out to make sure we've got some of the foundation stuff for people who are just starting out in as far as like getting a side hustle together and or trying to acquire any kind of actual wealth. I know a lot of people don't do it until mid 20s, 30s, what have you, or later. And so I want to try and get a few of these videos out for them before I move on to some of the bigger stuff. This particular video is going to be jobs and or side hustle type stuff that you can get going predominantly with Craigslist that don't require any skills, any training. They don't really require any kind of certification or licensing or any of that kind of stuff. So you can jump into them right now. Typically, these are going to be more like trade type stuff and or general labor type stuff. So if you're looking for something with a little less sweat equity, this might not be quite the thing for you. Although ultimately, and I think that's kind of the overarching theme with some of these first videos that I'm putting out here on this channel, is it's a mindset thing. You have to be willing to put in some sweat equity. At least in the beginning, resources and finances tend to be kind of like a snowball. As they go along, you have more of them to, swing more weight, so to speak. So, if you go on Craigslist right now, does not matter what city you're in, there is someone who needs some kind of help. And I'm not really talking about like companies, although sometimes you do get lucky and there's a company who we just need someone come out here and hold this sign. Kind of want to be wary of those though, just because there are a lot of like scam ads that'll go up there that hey, come hold this sign, we'll give you $20 an hour or whatever. And they usually do offer like a really high hourly wage to do something really menial, which in and of itself you kind of want to look out for, unless you know you're dealing with a person as opposed to a company of some type. So right now, somewhere in your town, there's an old lady, someone who's really busy, someone who's injured or sick or what have you, and they want something done. They got a room they want painted. They want a deck they want built. They have, rather, a deck they want built. They want some sods changed over in the backyard or the grass cut, trim the trees, something. Now, and this is kind of the same thing with if you were to decide you were going to personally build a house tomorrow. That sounds like a really big job, really hard. You need a lot of training for that. In all reality, it's about 25 or 30 really easy, really little jobs. And this is a part of the reason why you can get in on this. And there are two ways you can go about it. You can either play to your skills. Say you've painted a few bedrooms with in your house, and growing up as a kid, what have you. You did a little bit of painting interiors. So go on Craigslist, find ads that are, hey, I need someone to help me paint. It may be someone who's a contractor, and they may have more work for you in the future, which would be awesome. Just because then you have, in addition to the potential to make some more money off of the one click, so to speak, you also have the ability to use that as, hey, yeah, I did this and this and this. I have some experience now. So going forward, it helps you in doing more of the same type of stuff. But alternatively, again, you can play to your skills and you can put up an ad that says, hey, need some help painting? I can help you. Maybe both. Especially if you're maybe just looking for something, you're off Saturdays or Wednesdays or what have you, and you want to try and schedule a little something on the side to where you can pick up a couple extra bucks. It could just be general handyman type stuff, that you say you can do. Hey, if you need someone to, go through and fix your drain, whatever, whatever happens. That one. Maybe be careful how you word that one. Whatever, though, happens to be the thing that you do, and I can hear it now. There's someone out there. I don't have a skill set insofar as like DIY stuff around the house. It's not a problem. What you do have, and I know this because you can hear me, is the internet and access to YouTube. I have a personal saying that I toss around quite a bit, and it's YouTube is a college education. And by that, what I mean is having access to YouTube, you basically don't necessarily need, unless you're planning on going out and doing whatever it is full time, you don't necessarily need a large amount of training or to pay someone else to do something. Your car breaks down unless it's something in like one of the computers or what have you, transmission or a few other things. You can probably fix it yourself if you go on YouTube. And you can apply that exact same statement to most of these types of things. If someone needs sod done in their backyard, you don't know anything about that and haven't done it, you're 15 minutes and or like 3 YouTube videos away from maybe not being an expert, but at least knowing enough to get the job done to make that $80 in a way that they're going to be happy with it and recommend you to other people they know who might have some of that kind of work. And, you know, handyman stuff and landscaping, painting, those are definitely 3 of the big ones. Concrete. You got to get your mix just right. But there's a lot of people, especially in the suburbs and in the city, that have like steps, sidewalk, what have you, that are really, really cracked up. And you'd be surprised how much the going rate is to patch sidewalks and or repair stairs, like the concrete stairs in the front of a lot of houses. Repairing concrete in general. Again, it's something you're going to want to take a little bit of time. It doesn't take, even days. But you're going to want to take a little bit of your time and kind of educate yourself on whatever it is before you do it. And don't pass yourself off as like an expert. Just say, hey, I am relatively handy. I think I can get it done. But yeah, concrete is definitely a really, really big one. And if it winds up being something that you decide you want, a lot of these are things that if they're things you decide you want to, you can long term take that step. Get equipment, get licensed, and so on and so forth. And a lot of them can be full on, hey, I'm employed for myself doing whatever, as opposed to just side hustles that you do for a few extra bucks on the weekend. Obviously, some types of work in houses, you do have to be licensed for or bonded, have contracts and all this other stuff. Some of it is a lot easier. They can give you $30 to just go pull some weeds. And it's not a bad way to spend the weekend, especially if you're younger, and especially if it happens to be nice out. Additionally, and I suppose this one not exclusively, but does kind of lend itself more towards like bigger dudes, moving. And especially in the spring, which is coming up, a lot of people move, and they may be able-bodied, but just have a ton of stuff, or if you live alone, I am in great shape insofar as if I had to move, but there are some things I can't hold both ends of the sofa at the same time, so I got to get a buddy or I have to hire someone when I move. And that one, especially if you have a truck or a van, something to that effect, a box truck, you can actually charge more because they're not just renting your labor to move things, they're also renting your truck. Maybe not a lot more, but again, something that if you just want to try and schedule, like help someone move on Saturday when I'm off, and then I'll take Sunday and chill and go back to work on Monday, have that extra couple hundred or couple bucks or however much it is you happen to make, doing whatever it is that you're doing, especially if you're at the point now where you're scraping by, right? Especially if you are able to, supplement, $10 in from whatever you make and save the rest, you can really quickly be in a position where you have the ability to start looking at some assets and not scraping by. So yeah, moving I think is another really really good one. Someone always needs help moving, and if you throw an ad up on Craigslist, hey, me and my buddy show up with a truck, help you move for however whatever however many dollars an hour and 15 for the truck, you're more than likely gonna get quite a few hits, especially as things kind of warm up. Another big one, and this one they kind of tie in. If you go on and put up an ad, hey, I'll haul your trash away. This one, in addition to you're probably going to have to be able to lift at least 50 pounds, probably going to want a buddy. Helps if you got a truck or a trailer or something to that effect. A box truck, again, works really well. But people haul trash away, and you would be amazed at what people wind up paying you for this. There are a couple of different ways that you can do the trash one. You can haul trash away where they have a bunch of stuff already outside for you. Like, I'm sure, I don't know if you've seen like American Pickers or whatnot, a lot of these guys just have stuff stacked outside. There are a lot of people who will call for someone to haul trash for them, and what they're doing is having someone, hey, just round up all this stuff in this area and take it out. And a lot of that kind of stuff, they may pay you $500-600, maybe $700, depending on what it is and how heavy it is, to get it out of there. And then the other or another way to do it. There are some people who like in hoarders, more would be more of an example of this, where the place is just packed with shit, and you come in, and they have you take all of the stuff that's in the house and haul it away, and they'll pay you by the load. A lot of the time they pay you by the load, and so you want to negotiate whatever your price is. In that instance, you're more coming into the house and you're manually cleaning it out. In that instance, I'd probably pay or charge rather a little more. Now, the interesting thing with these, with both trash removal or like hauling trash away, with moving, and with like clean outs of old houses or houses that people are moving out of, potentially you actually have a resale value there. If they have a whole bunch of metal scrap, well, take it to the scrapyard. They paid you, and then instead of paying a dumping fee to get rid of the trash, you just go to take that to someone else who pays you again for it. Additionally, like furniture and whatnot, when they're moving, they're like, oh, I don't want that. Can I have it? More often than not, sure, have it, go for it. And same thing with the trash removal. A lot of the time, people will throw stuff away because they don't want it anymore, because it doesn't match anymore, because it doesn't fit anymore, because it's not the right shade to fit with the rest of the furniture in the room anymore. Such and such died. It gives me like I don't like having it around anymore. Like, there are tons and tons of reasons why people throw stuff away, and it's broken, or it's damaged, or it doesn't work, are only one very small corner of that. More often than not, People, especially here in the States, will throw stuff away that there's nothing wrong with other than they didn't have a use for it anymore. And because of that, again, you can take a lot of these things and turn them right around, put them back up on Craigslist, and in the same vein that if you were to clean a bunch of metal scrap or take a bunch of metal scrap from someone's house for them, and then turn around and take it to the scrapyard, basically get paid to take something away and then have someone else pay you to take it from you. So there's a potential a lot of the time to find like these double paydays with moving, with hauling trash, and with like cleanup type projects. And I know that specifically the cleanup and the hauling trash, definitely nothing glorious about it, and you're probably going to have to be willing to get your hands dirty. But again, every so often there is that thing that happens to pop up where it's like, yeah, sure, have it, and it winds up kind of making for a little better payday on the whole thing. I want to cut this off before I get too off in the weeds on things. Just wanted to give you guys kind of an idea. Obviously, the more creative you are, the more you can potentially make and the more you can potentially do with this. But yeah, Craigslist, I think at least, they've changed it and messed with it a lot over the years, but I think it's one of those resources that having it on hand when you're trying to get that first little snowball bit of money going can be a huge accelerator. And if you have the desire to either market a skill that you may already have, or if you want to try and develop a skill with painting or framing or landscaping or whatever, I think that's potentially a really good place to more or less get paid to train. You guys have a good afternoon. If you like what you've seen so far, be sure to subscribe, like, and share with your friends. Have a good afternoon.